We saw Britney write about Liam Taylor in her book and how she is a monster. So then who's the one who's tweeting from Britney's account saying that Liam Taylor steps up every single day and she does this for so many other ladies in the music business? Like, I don't think it was Britney. Especially when we see people like Cassie Petrie casually hanging out with Britney's dad. Britney isn't present, but they are out with Britney's dad and he's cooking for them and they're all buddy. So there's a lot of like overlap here, and it makes me question like which side is Matthew Rosengart on if he's protecting people like Cassie, Liam Taylor, and even Britney's father, Jamie. When Jamie Spears was in power, he got rid of Liam Taylor, I think against his will, but he did because Liam Taylor was having so much backlash and she probably saw on the horizon that there could be some criminal charges. I mean, there are plenty of court hearings. Matthew Rosengart was involved at this point, and when Jamie Spears appointed Michael Kane to Britney's estate, Matthew Rosengart just handed over the keys willy-nilly. Keep in mind that Michael Kane was working with Jamie's legal team, and he was also part of the Michael Jackson situation. Britney said that he was placed there against his will, and she doesn't even know what he's being paid for. Here's a screenshot where you can see Michael Kane was appointed by Jamie Spears as business manager. Jamie did this without notifying Britney, so she had no idea that her business manager running her business was now, taking this role. She really had no say at all. Britney says her dad installed Michael Kane in an effort to introduce a new gatekeeper that he could work with. He abruptly hired this man without telling her, an effort to retain full functional control of her money and material. So then why is Matthew Rosengart acknowledging him as her business manager and allowing this to happen when she is publicly saying that she had no part in this? She doesn't like it. Yet Matthew Rosengart is just handling the things behind the scenes, which is probably why he wanted all communications to go directly to him and through him so he could do these things, which makes me question, like, where are your intentions at?
Because she said management and Matthew Rosengart took her case, it means that Matthew Rosengart has a duty of loyalty to his client Britney Spears. And if Matthew Rosengart is found to have been showing loyalty to any of the executive management that Britney alleged hurt her, he would be violating his duty to his client. Now, there's another rule in the Professional Code of Conduct, which now extends that duty of loyalty to not just the attorney, but his entire firm. Which means when Matthew Rosengart took on Britney's case, he and the entirety of GT Law now have a duty of loyalty to Britney as a client to protect her interests.
Maybe Matthew Rosengart allowed Michael Kane to go and fill this position because of their prior connection. I mean, at one point there was an industry award that Michael Kane presented to Matthew Rosengart. Thank you for his ensuring continued reign over her brand. So Matthew Rosengart and Michael Kane are buddy-buddy, and it seems like it's giving industry plant because Michael Kane was part of Michael Jackson's downfall, which we made a video about that in the past. Definitely go and check that out. In 2018, Andrew Wallet, who's a terrible accountant who we've spoken about before, and Jamie Spears stole Britney's entire legacy. They sold her rights to her trademarks, Britney Spears, Britney, Fantasy Britney Spears, and her businesses without her signature. The rights were signed to a company that has nothing to do with Britney Spears and everything to do with Michael Kane. So this guy pretty much owns Britney's entire artistry, and that's why Jamie Spears wanted him on his side.
I haven't seen anything of Matthew Rosengart being connected to management. Have you? Oh wait, what does that say? So Michael Kane and Miller Kaplan are giving Matthew Rosengart an award. So wait, but isn't Michael Kane, it's just so weird that Michael Kane would be giving Britney's lawyer an award because, for example, this is a shareable meme that's going around made by the movement. I didn't make this. Michael Kane, look, baby, don't sue me, all right? I'm just reading what's behind me, but let's see. So why Rosengart asked the judge to transfer all Britney's assets to Michael Kane? Handpicked by Jamie Spears with professional ties to Lou Taylor. Hands instead of giving back control to Britney of her own estate and bank accounts.
So the connections are getting creepy. And as I've alluded to, Michael Kane had a part in Michael Jackson's downfall. Michael Kane was Michael Jackson's business manager who was hired shortly before his death and continues to control his estate. There's money missing from his estate too as well, so it sounds pretty familiar. Michael Kane was actually in part hired because he was to help the estate and to build more wealth back. And he was even quoted saying in an email, would a financial coming to Jesus speech help or add to his pressure? So it seems like they were trying to make Michael's estate worth more, and it wasn't going to help if Michael was still alive. So he was essentially worth more dead than alive, and that's why Michael Kane stepped in.
Right, and what's weird to me is why does it say that he is her attorney and that Matthew Rosengart is actually her conservator? What is that all about?
Cocky wrote on Twitter and ended his thread with this: "Regardless of your feelings on the man, he has failed to do the bare minimum and move this case out of Judge Penny's corrupt courtroom. His loyalty seemingly lies with Michael Kane, CAA, Jody, and the courts, not with Britney." Jamie Spears has hired a new lawyer, and this new lawyer has some thoughts about Matthew Rosengart. Actually, Matthew Rosengart was quoted saying, "I'm the king of entertainment litigation." A little bit cocky, huh? So Jamie's attorney, Alex, said that Matthew and him were screaming at each other in the courtroom. Alex recalls the conversation after telling Britney's lawyer that he was dead wrong about Jamie authorizing illegal surveillance of Britney. Then Rosengart went on to warn him that he's the king of entertainment litigation. Alex told Matthew that he was wasting his client's money by pressing his claims, but Alex tells TMZ that Matthew refused to settle and said that if he was not paid $7 million to cover his legal fees, that he was going to file new lawsuits against Jamie and others. Jamie's lawyer Alex says that Britney's lawyer Matthew has wasted over $7 million of her money on nothing. Alex also says that Matthew has been fighting to turn over documents because it will be embarrassing to him personally and devastating to his client's allegations, which I am kind of like, that's BS. Like, we want to see the documents so that we can find the truth. Matthew had some thoughts about Alex, Jamie's lawyer, saying that he's a known bully. He has conducted himself disgracefully in this matter, making false representation after false representation, including to the court. His entire endgame is to bully and harass Britney Spears. Now, Alex does have a point. Freedom does not come easy, and it costs a pretty penny, at least $7 million for Matthew Rosengart. He's actually addressed some of the criticism over his legal fees, saying that he's proud of his work. I guess at this point, he was paid $4.2 million in legal fees, but Matthew says that we're proud of our work, ranging from the hard-fought suspension of Jamie Spears to the present, where they're fighting for Britney. Britney has publicly credited Matthew for turning her life around, but declines to comment any further on the fees. Here's a clip where Matthew defends himself in a court document on his fees and what Britney's really paying for.
Matthew Rosengart was making so much money off of Britney's estate. People called him a liar and wanted to point to this document. So what this document, and specifically what people are pulling from, are the fact that Rosengart says this: "I am not billing for any time incurred in connection with this opposition." So what the media have done are now said that, you know, he's done work pro bono. He didn't charge for these documents. He says he spent time supervising and revising. So typically in a firm as big as Rosengart's, what you'll have is a rainmaker, and a rainmaker, Google it. It's the guy that goes to trial. It's the guy that does all the press tours. And then you have usually junior associates who do the bulk of the writing as well as the legal research. So the attorneys that actually did write this declaration and did charge for these documents are named just below the pink highlighted section. The first one is Michael McCarthy. He has an hourly rate of $925. He spent 4 hours on this, charging a total of $3,700 through the firm to the estate. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Britney's estate is paying for her legal fees, right? Right. So there was no work done pro bono. Please don't get that confused. Now, the other attorney that worked on this is named Kelly Sherman. She has an hourly rate of $735. She worked 5 hours on this, charging a total of $3,675. Okay, so with the two attorneys working on this and charging for this, they charged a total of $7,375. Britney's estate was charged $8,000 for 2 motions.
So there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot of people who are being paid. And honestly, if they're doing the right thing, then the money doesn't matter. But that's why I wanted to bring up some red flags, because you guys know me. I like to look at everything. I don't think Matthew Rosengart, like I said in the beginning of this video, that he's like, there's not a perfect person out there, but there are faults, and it's important for us to hold even the little things accountable. There is a moment I wanted to bring up recently that involves Britney Spears, of course, and Joe Biden. Joe Biden was recently doing a speech where he brought up Britney by name, and she ended up trending because he confused her with Miss Taylor Swift.
Harder than getting a ticket to the Renaissance tour or Britney's tour. She's down in, it's kind of warm in Brazil right now.
Now, it's kind of a funny moment because we all know Joe Biden is like 81 years old and he's not fully with it, but interesting how Britney Spears was on his mind. Someone who needs Britney Spears on their mind is Sam Asghari, because Sam Asghari recently was expected in court but wasn't in court, so his divorce filing might fall through if he's not showing up to these hearings where he's supposedly breaking it off with Britney. So I don't know if this is a strategy to get some more money, but Britney needs to divorce this man. We don't like Sam Asghari on this channel, but we do like to see Britney living her best life. We recently saw that she was out and about. She was wearing an orange dress. She looked happy. She had her dog with her. So anytime we see Britney in public, it's a good sign because for so long she was kept away. Thank you for watching this clip from the Let's Get Into It podcast. To view the full episode, visit the link listed below.